Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! And the Nuggets win it! Wilson throwing, it's up for grabs, and it's caught for the touchdown! And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. And the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions! And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio!
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight and Larry Perkins.
1-0 Rapids. They are champions.
Yo, what's good in the hood? Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. I am Arthur Knight, and I'm coming to you live from 4300 West Alameda. That was a brain fart there. 4300 West Alameda, So High Cafe. Come on by, say hi to Vinny, tell him that the Sportz Phenz sent you, get you some Viper Pit barbecue, call ahead, follow him on all sports media. Jesus, Arthur, what's wrong with you today? Social media, follow him on all social media at So High Cafe. And also brought to you by I Envy Vision at 700 South Buckley Road, Unit K in Aurora, Colorado. Stop on by, tell Bryson that Arthur Knight, the Sportz Phenz, sent you. See what he can do for you. He takes all medical insurance, or they take all medical insurance. They have 2 great doctors on site. I Envy Vision, we see you. All right, man. Sorry we got started a little late. People don't know how to read signs. And people always want to stop Vinny and I right before we get into good volume, Mark says. Bit of an inside joke there.
Yeah, I was just saying thanks.
Yeah. A bit of an inside joke there. But anyway, I'm going to get right into it, man. Game 7 tonight.
I called it, man, in the chat last week.
What, Game 7?
Yeah, you were saying, oh, and I said, no, Game 7. We'll go back and look.
Well, my original call was Indiana in 7, and then they won Game 1, and I kind of jumped on a 5-game bandwagon.
Okay.
I was like, well, if they won Game 1, they could win in 5, and they should have won in 5. They got kind of robbed in Game 4, but
Hashtag
I don't want to
rigged.
go back into that.
Hashtag rigged.
I don't want to go back and rehash that or rip that Band-Aid off. I talked about that at great length last week.
Yes, you did.
But with that said, Game 7 tonight, who do you got? I'm still sticking with Indiana. I think the only way that Oklahoma City wins this game is if they blow them out in the first quarter and Indiana just gives up in the second quarter and then, crown Oklahoma City the Thunder, or the champions. You could boo louder. It's okay.
Boo.
You could boo louder. It's okay. Let's get a boo drop. Let's get a boo drop. Let's get a boo drop. And that way. Yeah, there you go.
That's what I got right now. Pac-Man too.
That's okay. I'm good with both of those. Only for selfish fan reasons, I do not want to see OKC win. I don't want to call myself a basketball purist because that's just a little too smug. But as a basketball fan that has been a fan of basketball and especially NBA basketball for a very long time, over a few decades, I'm aging myself, but that's okay. I kind of want to see, I'm one of those people that likes to see that underdog story come through. And I believe the Pacers have been to the finals a couple of times, maybe even just once. And that was more than 30 years ago. And I kind of want to see them win, even though, both teams are vying for their first win ever. It's not like Oklahoma City has been knocking down the door for several decades to win a championship. I mean, they have gotten there before. They have been pretty good the past couple of seasons, obviously. And now they're finally in the finals, could win their first championship. I kind of see like this whole series played right into Indiana's hands. Their coach has already won a championship, so they have that pedigree. Oklahoma City by far is the more talented team. Mark, you got jokes. I can't wait to see from Mr. President. I can't wait to watch SGA shoot free throws. You know, I mean, I can't even fight you on that. Like, that's kind of why I don't want to see them win. That's a part of the reason. Call me a hater. I don't care. I don't like other teams that aren't the Denver Nuggets. Do I respect other teams that aren't the Nuggets? Yes. Do I respect other players that don't play for the Nuggets? Yes. But do I have to like them? Do I have to be a fan of them? No. I can respect what they accomplish, though. And if OKC wins, OKC wins. By all means, win. You're there. It's Game 7. It's Game 7. It's there for you to take, right? But now I know some are going to say, oh, OKC has won close games. They won close games against the Nuggets. They won close games. Yeah, they win close games by SGA shooting free throws. They don't want it to be a close game that isn't decided by the referees. And I really hope the NBA doesn't, step in, or the NBA refs kind of, just let them play. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Like, if it's a flagrant or, something that's just legitimately a foul, okay, call that. I'm good with that. What I'm not good with is these ticky-tack fouls that my guy SGA has been getting. And I'm not trying to hate on my dude. I'm really not. I know I pick on him a lot and I talk a lot of crap. That's just my personality, but I respect SGA. I mean, this dude does things that, even when he does bait people into foul, he does take that contact. You try doing that. You know what I'm saying? You try shouldering into a guy twice your size, staying on balance and still being able to make a shot that goes in at a high percentage. Try it. I implore every single one of you that has a dad bod like me to try and do all of those things that he does, whether cheap. I wouldn't agree. I can't even argue that they're not cheap. I can't argue with that SGA is arguably the most boring. Some would say Jokic is the most boring MVP, but I would disagree with that, unless you don't like solid, calculated basketball play, like I do, because I'm a basketball nerd when it comes to stuff like that. But with that said, he I don't think he can carry this team. His whole entire team, the OKC Thunder, and I'm talking to both Jalen's, Holmgren, Hartenstein, and Dort. That's the team that is going to have to win, and Caruso are the ones that are going to have to win this game, because SGA, I don't think, even if he scores a 50 burger tonight in a Game 7 to try to solidify his greatness in a Game 7, etc., I still don't think that's going to be enough to beat this gritty Indiana Pacers team. Now, I'm not going to try to sit here and say that I pick them to be in this position or that I pick them to win the championship this year coming out of the East, because that would be an outright lie. I honestly thought Boston would be here back-to-back, coming out of the East at least. And, wah, wah, wah. Where's Vinny when you need the drop? No. But they didn't play as well as they should have, just like the Nuggets didn't. I'm not trying to be a hater. Like I said, I'm not trying to be a hater, but they just didn't play well enough to get to where, get to the finals. A lot of teams didn't, obviously. There's only 2 teams there. But, man, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, Nebhard, Nesmith, Turner, McConnell, Toppin, all of these cats, man, they're playing really, really, really well together. Like, really, really well together. In in the game. What was that game? Was it 6? Obviously, yeah. Game 6. Yeah, man. Like, I get it. It was a blowout win, and I'm not sure if OKC just kind of laid down a little bit after a while of being overrun. And I'm not saying that OKC is going to just lay down in Game 7. OKC very well may win this game. I just don't see it happening unless they blow out Indiana from jump. And they've been able to do that. They can do that. They've done it in the playoffs against several teams. They've done that all year. They get out to a 20 to 30 point lead, and then they just basically stifle you with their defense. They have done that all year. So it's not like it's impossible, but and they've done that to this team. They've done that to Indiana. But with that said, I still don't see them being able to do that in this game unless Indiana has an epic meltdown, which I don't see them happening because, you know, they could have just laid down in Game 6 and they could have laid down in Game 6 and just allowed OKC to take their flowers and walk off on their court, etc. But they didn't. You know, they played hard. Every one of their guys that played in the game, and I'm talking about like starters plus the 2-3 bench players, were a plus on the plus minus. And damn near all of them were double-digit pluses on the plus minus. That speaks volumes to me, especially seeing as, see, now here's another thing, man. Like, SGA only got 8 free throws in that game, so he got 21 points. 21 points. He usually gets about, 12 to 14. That is a good way for that's a good way for him to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, he eats from the free throw line, and when he doesn't eat from the free throw line, this happens. I mean, he's a minus 17, 21 points, 0 for 1 on the 3-point line. He's not really a 3-point shooter. You know, just didn't really have a great game all the way around, 7 for 15. So, I mean, he was still about 50% from the floor. But, you know, just not a good game. Caruso, 0 points, negative 33. So they kind of took it to him. Indiana did in Game 6, man. So OKC better come in strapped up and ready to go, and Indiana better, you know, put their big boy pants on and be ready to not fold. I kind of want to watch. I want to see this game because I want to see. This could turn out. Let me put it this way. This could turn out, and I know these are two small market teams, and everybody's like, nobody's watching this, and it's like, whatever, man. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. I don't really care. I don't think the NBA does either. They should care a little bit more, but I'm going to continue watching. So sorry if follow us on YouTube, Sportz Phenz. Follow the show. Hop into our live chat at Sportz Phenz. You know, let us know what's on your mind. Who do you got? Who do you got, guys? Who do you got? Do you got Indiana? Do you got OKC? But back to my point. So I know these are two small market teams, but to me, as a basketball fan, the fact that both of these teams have pretty much homegrown talent. I mean, yes, Indiana did trade for Siakam, and, you know, they signed a couple of guys, you know, like Toppin and stuff like that. They didn't kind of draft these guys. They got them from other teams. But for the most part, they're core players, or even, I mean, Halliburton, they traded to get him. But none of these guys. I mean, Halliburton is a gold medalist. He is an all-star, but they don't have a starting lineup that screams all-star, East. They really don't. To a certain extent, Oklahoma City does. I mean, they have, three players that are definitively could be all-stars next year if all things, all stars align, excuse me. But I think this is going to be an epic knock 'em down, drag 'em out fight. I think it could go down to the last shot. And I think that Indiana is going to win with that last shot with a Mr. Halliburton or even a Mr. Neesmith, period. I think that could happen. I mean, I'll go as bold as to say I think that's what's going to happen. I think it will come down to hopefully not free throw shots, but it will come down to a last shot. Because I don't want to see a game full of free throws either. I mean, just let this game 7. Let these boys go out there and cook. Let them play. I do think that the Indiana Pacers are going to win this game, though, and bring home the trophy for Indiana, who has been waiting a long time. So Indiana, a shout out from Denver. Indiana Pacer fans, a shout out from Denver. We know your pain and your plight when it comes to waiting a long time. Because now I have to look it up, because I don't think have the Pacers won an NBA championship. Let's see. Since joining the NBA, the Pacers have not won an NBA championship. So yes, Indiana Pacers fans, Indiana Pacer fans, we feel your pain, and I hope you guys win. Oklahoma City, you guys haven't been a franchise that long. Plus, you're in our division, so F you, I don't care. And yes, back to my former point, as Mark kind of brought me back full circle. I like the fact that these two teams have a very deep bench and they play, 7-8 guys, but they're deep enough to where they can play 9-10 guys. That to me is the makings of what should be great going forward. Personally, I don't want to watch. I hated that whole in between era of, we're going to pair up stars and win championships that way. We got 3 big stars and then everybody else is a role player, and we're just going to, somehow dominate every single, because we have the best 3 players in the world on one team, with the best role players in the world because we have the biggest budget. Malice in the Palace ruined basketball, huh? All right. I don't know how that correlates to this conversation, but that tells me exactly how long you've been a basketball fan, though. So now who's showing their age? No. But man, I'm kind of excited for not being a fan of either one of these teams. I'm kind of excited to see how this blueprint of team building will work, because this is what's going to work under the new CBA, guys. Like, this is what's going to work. This way of thinking that you're going to be able to, this whole Lakers and Boston's way of thinking that you can throw teams together and buy your way to get a championship is not going. You're going to have to do it via trades, and it's going to have to be even trades, and you're going to have to give up some stuff to get it. You're going to have to give up some assets to get the NBA championship that you want, and it could send your franchise in, a negative direction for, up to a decade, maybe even longer, if the new CBA isn't, unless the new CBA, I can't remember when it expires, I can look it up, but unless the new CBA changes the way the apron system either works or they take away the apron system altogether. This is the way you are going to have to win championships, period. And the Nuggets kind of started it about 5 or 6 years ago and went away kind of, and to a certain extent created some sort of blueprint, of having youth on the bench coupled with, veteran players, and having a good mix of that coming off the bench in order to win games in the regular season and give your guys rest during the regular season in order to make a real push at the end of the season to win a chip, right? But it's hard under this system to keep those type of players, especially the veteran players. You can keep the young players. The young players are easily under contract, easy to get them under contract because they have certain max amounts that they can ask for. And yes, those take significant cap. You take significant cap hits with some of those players, but not many of those players. You have to be like upper echelon, rising star talent in order to get, those top tier, top of the line of the lower tier payments. But the veterans that get veteran minimums and all of that, they tend to get a little more expensive. And then you have to put in, the factor of bird rights and whether it's player option or franchise option or, unrestricted, restricted free agency, etc. The NBA is intricate. It's intricate when it comes to that. And these teams have seemed to figure it out how to establish talent, get talent amassed, and still draft talent, right? And trade away, pieces to other teams and get the pieces that they need. Because it's not like Giddey wasn't playing good in OKC. He got more traded because of his off-the-court stuff, but I still think to a certain extent he wasn't the piece they needed. He wasn't mature enough like a Caruso. Caruso's won a championship, so he has more of that pedigree, and he's actually been able to help carry this team over this finish line, and he's going to be a key factor in them finishing tonight. You mark my words on that. If they can finish, he's going to be a key factor in it. But he's the piece that they needed coming off the bench, as he can score, but Giddey was a scorer or is a scorer. He's not the guy that's going to come out there and play defense, tough man-to-man on-ball defense like Caruso's going to. He's not going to give you that off the bench. He's going to give you 25, 26 points off the bench, which is great if that's your role, but that's not what OKC needed him for. So, it was a two-pronged thing. Yes, his off-the-court things got him sent to Chicago, but it was also that he really wasn't the right fit. He wasn't really the right piece for OKC, and Caruso was, as has been proven. Give kudos to the GM in OKC. He doesn't play defense. Oh, no. Well, no, I will give you that. He does play hacking defense, but hey, man, if they don't call the foul, they don't call the foul. As Mark just said, he is a pest. That's his job. There's several players in the league that play like he does. It's not a bad thing. He's that guy that if he plays for the other team, you hate him. But if if he plays for your team, you love him because you need that guy to help you win a championship. That guy for the Denver Nuggets when they won was Brucey B. You know what I'm saying? He played that type of defense. He wasn't a great defender. He's a pest. And he would get under the skin of the other team's best player. I could name a couple of other players, that are now not in the league, but there's quite a few players that play that way. I mean, Russell Westbrook is that type of player, right? You hate him when he's not on your team, but when he plays for your team, you love the guy. He's exactly what you need on your team. I liken all of those players, if you want to put it in football terms, to like a Bill Romanowski back in the day. You love that guy when he's on your team, but when he doesn't play for your team, he's a dirty player. I mean, Minnesota has a whole team of players that do what Caruso does. And they were able to get past them. So, but I do think Caruso will be the key key off the bench, I should say. But really, everybody around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, easy for me to say, has to be better around him. Chet Holmgren can't have a 4-point game on 2 of 9 shooting. Like, you can't. 0 for 3 from 3. You cannot have a night like that in a Game 7 and expect to win a championship. You can't. Probably shouldn't have had a night like that in the Game 6. I kind of expected more of the OKC Thunder to make it more of a game in Game 6. I don't care if it was in Indiana. A team with killer instinct, when you're up 3 and you got your foot on the other team's neck, you kill. You go after, when there's blood in the water, sharks attack. You don't, lay back and be like, oh, well, we can beat them at home. Nah, you just gave them life. And I'm glad you did, because I think the Pacers are going to win tonight. I don't know if they'll win like in Game 6, but I think it'll definitely be less than 5 points. It'll be less than 5 points. It'll be less than 5 points this game will be decided by. That's for sure. There's no way that it's decided by more points unless Oklahoma City runs away with this game, which they're more than capable of doing, like I've said a couple of times. So here's something crazy that just popped up about an hour ago, kind of shaking up the West a little bit. Now, I don't know if it's scary. I don't know if it's, because this guy is not necessarily still in his prime. I don't know if he's over the hill either, but Kevin Durant, KD, has been traded for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this week's draft, and 5 second-round picks to the Phoenix Suns. That happened today. That happened today. It's crazy. And this is from CBS Sports. Like I've had several sources. Like the first one was Shams, obviously. But when you're in the media, when you worked in the media like I have, you know that you have to check more than one source. And you have to at least have, 2 or 3 credible sources. Not that Shams isn't a creditable source. He was just the first creditable source, right? Excuse me. Got all these fans blowing in here. My voice is getting hoarse. But, like Vinny told me, if we turn these fans off, boy, you're going to be hot in here. I don't want to be hot in here. But yeah, crazy. The Suns acquired Durant, in 2023. That experiment has failed. To me, I mean, you tell me. Does that not speak volumes about who Phoenix values as on their team? I mean, now granted, I get it. Paul doesn't have. Not Paul. Excuse me. Who am I trying to think of? What's that boy's name? KD's so washed up he had to get traded on the day of Game 7 to stay relevant. Ouch. That's at Meepus Jeepus. Ouch. Well, thank you for being active in the text line there. And thank you for following us on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Sportz Phenz. I'm going to get a lot more active here soon, pushing out, a lot more content. I'm going to get a lot more video content coming in, so it's not just me rambling my thoughts and opinions for an entire hour for you guys. I want to get you guys some video content and whatnot, so stay tuned for all of that coming up. But don't forget to follow us, like I said, on social media at Sportz Phenz. But yeah, doesn't that speak volumes to you? Doesn't that speak volumes to you on how Phoenix values Booker and the other guard that they got from DC, and I can't remember this man's name for the life of me right now. What is that boy's name? Beal. Jesus. Bradley Beal. Now, granted, I understand that he has a clause in his, a no-trade clause. So, it's not like Phoenix could, if they wanted to, they could just trade him. Because if they would have to talk him out of, or talk him into, I should say, waiving his no trade. So that means he would get to pick the team that they trade him to. And Phoenix may not be done yet, man. I mean, we don't know. But to me, that speaks volumes about who Phoenix actually wanted to trade going forward and who they value a little bit more. Because if they really wanted to get rid of Beal, they could have shopped him to teams that he chose to see if they would take him on. But they didn't do that. So, oh, okay. Well, reportedly punched Beal. Okay, I'll have to look that up, Mark. Again, I'll have to check your sources, my guy. But either way, KD is gone. Phoenix is in full free fall, as Mark said in the chat here. They are. And I've never been happier. I hope Suns and 4 guy is living in hell and agony right now. I kind of wish, I know they would never do this. Phoenix would never do this. It would have to be if Booker decided not to re-sign with Phoenix or requested a trade. But, man, I would love to see that pair of and obviously you'd have to move CB to the 3, but I'd like to see that Booker Jamal tandem. Could you imagine having to guard 2 guards like that with Joker running the point center? Could you imagine that? That would be such beautiful basketball. Yeah. Anyway, I'm dreaming now. Now I'm in 2K mode or something. But KD to the Houston Rockets. Does that make Houston better? Does that make Houston a little more dangerous? Does that change the West's landscape? Or is KD been washed up, as our friend Meepus Jeepus claims? I see KD, except for the fact that he keeps getting injured because he is older. His body is kind of giving up on him, but he can still score. He can still give you probably a good 50 games in the regular season, and maybe they have him come off the bench. I don't know. I don't know how Houston's going to. I mean, I guess they did trade away a couple of players that were on their starting core in Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, but yeah, I don't think this necessarily makes Houston more dangerous. Actually, I think it might make them less dangerous, and I like KD. But I don't necessarily agree with Meepus Jeepus, but I don't think he's at the top of his game. I don't think he's at the pinnacle of his window. You know what I mean? Like he is on the downtrend of, you know, just like Westbrook and all that came out, you know, in that era. They're all in that decline to a certain extent. It's kind of sad to see that KD has fallen so hard. He might have, if he had just stayed in not OKC, but if he had stayed in Golden State and kind of taken that, not necessarily that Robin to Curry, but definitely could have won more rings that he's still clearly trying to chase. But I mean, he obviously didn't get a choice in this because he didn't have a no trade clause. I guess it remains to be seen if this helps or hurts Houston. I mean, they got rid of 2 young guys. What's his name? Dillon Brooks is one of those Caruso type players as well. He's one of those guys that's going to hack you, push you, get under your skin. He's going to take a couple fouls in doing so, but he's going to get under your skin. Patrick Beverley was like that. Okay, I think I kind of agree with you, Mark. Mark in the chat says, "Not hurts, not helps." I actually agree with that statement. I think that it does hurt that young core. All I can say is that I'm glad the Nuggets didn't. I kept reading reports that the Nuggets were like a wild card to get KD. And I was just like, I don't want to give up like a CB because that's all they were going to take. They weren't going to take, Najee. They weren't going to take, any of our young, and I love P. Watt, but they weren't going to take P. Watt. I mean, they might have taken him along with CB and, some another core member like MPJ, et cetera, for KD. But, to a certain extent, Houston didn't have to pay too much to get him. I mean, they did get rid of 2 core guys, except for Dillon Brooks isn't. I think he started in Memphis, so he kind of got picked up in free agency. But still, to give away, their 10th round pick this year was a bit steep. That was a bit steep, but either way, what's done is done. KD is now a Houston Rocket. This will be his 4th or 5th team that he has played for. And let's see if he can go into Houston and ruin their team. I'm just kidding. So on the Nuggets front, okay, I know there's going to be a lot of Nuggets fans that are like, no. But Mr. Saric, Dario Saric, has picked up his $5.4 million contract for next season to be a Denver Nugget. How do we feel about that? How do we feel? This one's tough. Because last year when they signed him, I was like, man, he's a similar player. I mean, nobody is like or exactly like or emulates Jokic. Don't get me wrong. But this guy has that same similar pedigree, comes from the same area, basically not the same country. I'm not drawing, or trying to draw, don't take complete literally what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when we signed him, I was like, that's a good piece, as opposed to, pieces that can't score, can't shoot from the 3, can't shoot mid-range, can't pass. This guy can do all of those things, or at least he could at Golden State. He used to be a pest when we used to play Golden State. When the Denver Nuggets used to play Golden State, Saric used to be a rebound machine, especially on the offensive glass. He used to create so many second opportunities for Curry to shoot a three from offensive rebounds. And that's why I was like, man, yes, perfect. This is the guy that gets you extra offensive possessions and gets you more playing time and more offensive possessions for your younger guys to keep attacking the basket. But it just didn't pan out that way this year. I'm going to be pessimistically optimistic here. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the Nuggets don't trade him away. Should they trade him away? Probably, but I don't think they do. I think they end up keeping him. They have got to figure out a way to move Najee, though. I don't know how they're going to do it. Trust me, I've been going over my head. I'm no professional. I'm not a GM. But, I look at these things, and I'm kind of a basketball nerd and junkie and, maybe even a nerds junkie because I look at this stuff for football too. But it just, that's why I'm the sports fiend, right? That's it's not just playing on the court or playing on the field or, whatever the field of play. I like every aspect of it, the business of sports. So, but I think this might be a good thing for the Denver Nuggets. I think that Saric needed to get his feet wet last year. He should have gotten a little more playing time, especially in the beginning of the year, and allowed Jokic to get a breather, because I honestly think that Jokic got so many triple-doubles in the first half of games last year that I honestly think if he would have gotten more rest in the first and second quarter of every game in the beginning or the first quarter of the season last year, and Saric would have gotten a little more playing time at the 5 during that time, I think Saric by the end of the year could have been a viable piece for the Denver Nuggets going into the playoffs. But because he didn't get any kind of run in that system whatsoever, I think that he just didn't. I don't know if he didn't get a fair shake, but he definitely didn't get enough playing time to get acclimated to this system and this team. I still think with the style of play that Adelman was trying to implement, and you can kind of tell, I don't know what he's going to do next season in the regular season, what he's going to implement, what style of play, but you could kind of read into it a little bit on what he did in the playoffs, right? Especially defensive schemes and whatnot. He dug deep in his bag, man. You could tell, because without him doing that and utilizing the key pieces that he has, the Nuggets wouldn't have been to 2 Game 7s. They wouldn't have won, one of them. Period, point, end of discussion. And nobody could argue. You could kind of argue that Jokic might have been the coach on the bench, but I could see the Nuggets organization even encouraging Saric to stay. I think that is a signing that this organization was okay with and good with, and he may have even been encouraged. I don't know that definitively. I have no inside information. I'm just saying this man didn't get any playing time whatsoever. And yeah, granted, he's probably not going to get $5.4 million anywhere else, right? He'll probably get 3.2 or something like that. He'll get significantly less than if he doesn't pick this up. So that might be his driving factor. Like, I'm not going to get any more than 5.4 anywhere else. So why take a lesser paycheck when I can get this paycheck for sure? That could very well have happened as well. But with that said, I don't think the Nuggets will be able to trade him. I do not think the Nuggets are going to be able to make a lot of trades regardless, because as Mark just adequately stated in the chat, the Denver Nuggets don't have a GM. I don't know if Josh Kroenke is going to be acting, and maybe he's absorbing that position, or if they're going to promote somebody. But definitively, they still haven't announced a GM. They've announced a coach. They have not announced a GM, and the draft is basically upon us. When is that, though? Let's see. What is it? 2025. Yeah. Literally this week. I just wanted to double check before I actually said it out loud. Literally this week. Well, I mean, I've already said it out loud, but you know what I mean. I wanted to just confirm. Anyway. So, June 25th through Thursday, Wednesday, June 25th through Thursday, June 26th, 2025 is when the NBA draft will commence and take place. The Denver Nuggets do not have a number one pick whatsoever, so I guess they don't necessarily need a GM. I'm not sure the Denver Nuggets have a second round pick in this year's draft. Yeah, if this is correct from NBA.com, the Denver Nuggets do not have a pick in this year's draft whatsoever. So that might be why they're not in a hurry to name a GM. Yeah, no picks whatsoever. I've just gone through it 4 times on both round 1 and 2, and the Denver Nuggets for, well, let me see. Is this supposed to be the 2026? Let me just make sure. I'm looking at. Yeah, for sure. That's this week's draft, yeah. And Booth did give it all away, Mark. I'm sorry to say. Yeah. That's terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. That's terrible. Absolutely no draft stock whatsoever. No draft capital on the bench. At least Westbrook did the Denver Nuggets a solid and declined his team option. But he might have done it foolishly, thinking he can get more money somewhere else. But I think Mr. Westbrook is going to be sadly mistaken. I don't think anybody is going to pay him what he wants to be paid. It's definitely not going to be more than what the Denver Nuggets had offered him on a player option. So that might be smart, just complete smarts on Dario Saric's part. You know, if he really made his decision on, I'm not going to get more than $5.4 million from another team, I might as well stick to the Denver Nuggets. And maybe he might have even gotten encouragement from the MVP. We don't know. Hopefully maybe Jokic reached out to him and was like, hey, man, you can still play for us. Come play. I don't know, man. I hope that the Denver Nuggets organization is going to figure this out, because this was probably the worst time for them to be like, you know what, we're going to shake things up. I would like to hope that they're doing it based upon, trying to maximize Jokic's MVP, his career, trying to maximize every last ounce of his greatness. I just don't know if, Booth should have been fired. He should have been fired. And the coach, you can't have insubordination, like doing, you just can't have that. You can't have what was going on behind closed doors just happen. You just can't. But I hope they know what they're doing, man, because if you're trying to maximize Jokic's greatness, this was not the way to go about it. Giving him a first-time head coach, no GM. You allowed your GM to trade away all of your future stock and you've got nothing. He got magic beans out of every trade he made. He made some smart moves. I mean, you can't even front. I mean, he did draft CB. There's some moves that Booth made that made sense. But man, he traded away the future of this franchise. And I don't know how the Denver Nuggets, I mean, I guess they better call the Penner Walton group and ask them, hey, how do you eat a whole bunch of money and still maintain, rebuild your franchise? Because the Denver Nuggets have no youth coming in this year. So unless they make any moves in the free agency market or buyout market, man, the Denver Nuggets are going to have to stand pat on what they have. And there's going to be a lot of players that fall off, the bandwagon. And I'm cool with that, to be completely honest with you. I'm cool with that. We don't need y'all anyway. The bottom line is that most of the people that are Denver Nuggets fans became Denver Nuggets fans when they won a championship. Or not most. Most of the new fans that are the Denver Nuggets fans are fans that have shown up because the Denver Nuggets became great, and those are the ones that are going to fall off when the Nuggets have to stand pat going into next season because the GM that they hired or promoted within sold their cow for some magic beans. That's all we can hope for, Mark. Mark's question or Mark's statement is maybe our young players would develop. Maybe they'll take a good leap. I mean, that's what we have to expect. I mean, you could see that CB is taking leaps and bounds. Like even last year, you could see his aggressiveness, him working on his offensive game. He's going to have to work on his conditioning, though, because if you're going to be a two-way player at a high level like he wants to be, he's going to have some conditioning changes, and I think he knows that. I think he is going to make those adjustments, and as long as the Denver Nuggets don't have to trade him away, he is going to be a significant piece for this team getting back to the championship. The one that really needs to make leaps and bounds is P. Watt. And Strother for that matter. But Strother is really this has been his second year. He's had some injuries. But P. Watt, man, he's in year 4, I believe. And he needs to make a significant leap. Not just he's already the best shot blocker the Nuggets have. And he could be the best, weak side wing defender that comes and swats the ball. That's his perfect position for him. But they can't have the significant drop off offensively that like they have when he's on the court. He should be spending his entire summer staying at AG's warehouse home. That is where he should be spending the next 2 to 3 months working on his game, because him and Strother are honestly going to be the key pieces if the Nuggets have to stand pat and nobody wants our scrubs or whatever they want to call them, or our scraps, our bad decision making as an organization, and allowing Booth to make those decisions. If they have to stand pat with the team that they have, excuse me, then those two players in particular are going to have to make a leap, and not just steps. I mean, leap in their game. Strother on the defensive side of the ball, P. Watt on the offensive side of the ball. P. Watt needs to be averaging somewhere between 13 and 16 points next year, plus keep all of his defensive prowess the exact same, and Strother needs to do the exact opposite. We already know what he can do offensively. He just needs to get a little more aggressive, but his defensive prowess needs to step up again. He can play, he can do it. He just hasn't done it, and he seems a little bit lost sometimes when I'm watching games. He seems a little bit lost, even when they go into like a zone. Well, I should say, especially when they go into a zone defense, he seems a little bit lost to me. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm no expert. But me as a basketball fan, I've been a basketball fan my entire life. From what I see, he looks a little lost in those schemes. So he is going to have to make leaps and bounds on the defensive side of the ball if the Nuggets are going to be successful in any way, shape, or form. And P-Watt is going to have to average 13 to 16 points a game if the Nuggets are going to even sniff the third round of the playoffs, period. If they want to be able to give Jokic, AG, and Murray rest during the regular season, it's going to take that. It's also going to take Murray coming in ready to play championship basketball from game one on through. Because the rumors are out there and the tape is out that basically he comes in, out of shape, doesn't really get the mindset or thinks that he can turn it on and off, which he has to a certain extent been able to do. But, man, we can't have him conserving energy in the way that he has been in the beginning of the season. And if he has, that means that Pickett, or unless the Nuggets can find another free agent guard in free agency or the buyout market, Pickett is going to, and that's another key piece that's going to have to step up. And this is all predicated on if the Denver Nuggets have to stay pat with what they have, because they have no assets other than who the Denver Nuggets value as players, or at least the old GM valued as players. It's going to take those young guys taking a big leap. And out of all the ones mentioned, Pickett's the only one that honestly looked like he had gained more confidence that he could play at this level. So anyways, with that said, thank you for tuning in this week. I will be back next week at 2 p.m. Don't forget to get your orders in for your Viper Pit Barbecue at SoHi Cafe. Reach out to Vinny, tell him the Sportz Phenz sent you. Don't forget to get you some new glasses from INV Vision, 700 South Buckley Road, Unit K. Tell them the Sportz Phenz sent you. And I will see you fiends next week at 2 p.m. Holla at your boy. Go Pacers.
Go Pacers.